Good afternoon, everybody. I work in the entertainment space, so I'm going to try to be entertaining. Today, I'm going to try to be the only guy on the stage that's not going to talk about finance. I'm going to try to talk about sports, a little bit about blockchain, and how we talk about use case. Because Chiliz is all about use case, and that's what we've built for the last 5 years. We like to call ourselves the SportsFi. It's not DeFi, it's not GameFi, it's SportsFi. That's a bit our new narrative, and that's what we've done for the last 5 years. Let's talk a little bit about us as an introduction. That's reversed, okay. So let's talk a little bit about us. We are 300 people now. Chiliz was created 5 years ago. We've been very present in Korea, for those who remember us, since 2018. It's a company and an ecosystem, I will say now, of 300 people, 9 offices, especially offices everywhere in the world, including here in South Korea. We grew quite significantly in 2022 and still even in 2023. So we continue to invest despite being in a bear market for a simple reason, is we are not dependent, even though we suffer, we are not dependent of the markets to grow. We are dependent of the sports industry and the entertainment. And this is an industry that, even if Bitcoin were to go to zero tomorrow morning, hopefully not, they will still have sports fans and fans of any communities all over the world. We think that the next generation of fan engagement is SportsFi. It's about using blockchain to engage and monetize your fan base. What does SportsFi mean? We try to have like 3 different definitions. One is, of course, sports and DeFi, the fact that you can trade, engage, and gamify the sportification of blockchain. There is the commodification, where everything in sports has a value and therefore is or becomes a commodity. And fidelity, sports fidelity. Why? Because when you like a community, when you like a brand, when you like an artist, when you like anything, you want to be close to him or her, or you want to be close to the brand. And that's what we do at Chiliz. We are creating concept, product that help brands to be closer to their fans or fans to be closer to their brands. Actually, if we rewind a little bit about what we are doing and what we have been doing for the last 5 years, there is a very simple, or it came from a very simple idea. 99% of sports fans are not in the stadium, not in the city, not even in the country of the team they are supporting. And so we created, back in the years, this concept of fan tokens, and we'll go into it, and we created the concept of the Chiliz ecosystem. What's the Chiliz ecosystem? We started as a token. I believe most of you have heard of Chiliz back in the years, especially here in Korea. I think 20% of our token holders are actually Korean, from all over the world. So we've been very involved here, and we've got a lot of support, and I'd like to thank you first. But today, we are more than just a token. We shift from a token to a blockchain. Chiliz is now a layer 1, an EVM compatible chain. We haven't invented the blockchain. We are not the fastest. We are not the best. We don't want to change the world. We just want to focus on sports and entertainment and be the chain and the ecosystem that focus on that. And when we started, we actually didn't start as an infrastructure play. We started as a consumer-facing play. And that's where we created this European, or let's say global brand called socials.com, which is a consumer-facing app that has more than 2 million users now, 2.2, where we created the concept of fan tokens, where you and I can actually participate and be closer to their brands. We invented the concept of fan tokens. We deployed it over 6 different sports, football or soccer, depends where you're from, esports, of course, not in Korea yet, but Formula 1, UFC, tennis, rugby, any kind of sport or any vertical of sports has been covered by Chiliz and Socials. And the way we like to present our project is that we think that in the last 50 years, or actually in the last 10 years, let's say, one of the only industry that hasn't been disrupted by the technology and by internet in general is the sports industry. Every single other vertical, finance, dating, travel, everything has been disrupted or enhanced by the technology. Sports hasn't. The sports will never change, of course. The game of you play and you watch will never change. But we believe that the relationship between fans and sports property will change. We believe that it will change from an active fan to from a passive fan to an active fan. And that bridge from passive to active is where blockchain and technology in general will be useful. The fact that till now you were just a spectator of the game and that tomorrow you can become more an actor, not of the game itself, but rather an actor in the way you engage with the brands. We work with more than 100 sports teams all over the world in 25 different countries, and as I said, we created this concept of fan tokens. Fan tokens are digital assets. They are not NFTs, and that's a big thing to say. These are not NFTs. I actually have a love-hate relationship with NFTs, but let's not go there today. These are fungible tokens that are more or less a tokenized loyalty program or a tokenized membership program, where you as a fan can buy one token of Paris Saint-Germain. I will take Paris Saint-Germain because there is a recent Korean player that just joined this summer and scored last weekend. And you as a Paris Saint-Germain fan, anywhere in the world, you can buy this fan token. And now you're part of the community. There is a limited amount of token of each team. And as part of the community, two things happen. One is the recognition. You are part of it. Two is having a voice. Actually, I'm going to give you a fun fact. In 2018, when we created Chiliz and Socios, we didn't create a fan token. We created a voice token. But then when we started to pitch what is a voice token, people ask us, hey, are you launching the new Skype? So we realized that we had to shift from a voice token to a fan token in order to explain what we do, in order for the fans to have a voice. And now all of the fan token holders can vote on decision of clubs, and they can participate in the life of the club, of the teams, maybe one day to any other brands and community that exist. But being part of a community is not just having a voice, it's also being rewarded. It's also having a chance to do something that you will not have a chance to do. And that's more or less the four pillars we are working on. The first one being fan decision, which is the voting, which is actually the original reason when we were on blockchain. Very often there is this kind of internet meme about what problem do you solve when you do blockchain. For us, it was very simple. The on-chain voting, you cannot cheat it. It's on the chain, it's immutable, it's there forever. So if me, as a club owner or as a club CEO, I want to give my fans the right to vote on something that matters, I want to make sure that this vote is safe and secure. And that's why we created actually the fan token, is to have an on-chain voting that is guaranteed and the integrity is guaranteed for the fans. We also, of course, have fan rewards, fan shop, marketplace where you can trade your tokens. And that's more or less how we started. But let's go a little bit in detail in some of the cool stuff we've done in the past. This team in Switzerland, which plays the Champions League, has asked their fan token holders, hey, which jersey do you want us to have next season when we play? It's maybe a small thing, but they never asked it before. All of the things we've done for the last 4 or 5 years, even though it sounds sometimes gimmicky or simple, were actually never been asked before. Why? Because now clubs have a way to ask their fans all over the world to actually be part of something unique and try to, of course, monetize it over time. One of my favorite one, and I will stick on this one a little bit, is the goal celebration song. We launched the fan token of Juventus in November 2019, like 150 years ago. And the first thing that the Juventus asked their fan was, what music do you want to have in the stadium every time we score a goal? Again, that sounds silly, but every time you go in a stadium and that there is a goal, there is a music. Till now, this music was never chosen by the fans, and yet they are the one who listen to it. Now, 4 years later, not only the music that was chosen by the fans in January 2020 is still in the stadium, But if you play video game like FIFA or Pro Evolution Soccer, if you play with Juventus, you will hear the music that was chosen by the fan token holders on the blockchain 4 years ago. That's the kind of things we are doing all the time, every single week, doing fan rewards. Last year, or the last 12 months, we gave away 25,000 tickets for fan token holders all over the world. And again, here in Korea, somewhere in Brazil, somewhere in Turkey, they are fans of the biggest teams in the world. But what can they do beside following a team on Twitter, buying a jersey, even if it's a fake one? It is a very limited way to interact with your team. We think that blockchain, and again, technology in general, solve this, or at least enhance it. This one is very cool, was AC Milan. Yes, AC Milan, December 2021. Young fan of Milan, because she owned, and I say she because it's important, she owned a fan token holder, she owned a fan token of Milan. She was able to be the speaker at the stadium for the first time ever. It was the first time actually there was a female speaker at the stadium. These kind of small things is our bread and butter in a way that we try to bring more innovation to the sports space as well. This is the last one I will talk about in terms of rewards, but that's my favorite. In Italy right now, every time there is a goal, in Italy, in Serie A, every time there is a goal of Inter Milan, AC Milan, Napoli, Juventus, AS Roma, every time there is a goal, the ball is taken out of the pitch. They put a small NFT chip on the Chiliz blockchain, and whoever owns a fan token will be able to earn that real ball. And when you get it home, you put your phone on the ball, it goes on the blockchain, and it gives you the metadata of that ball. So now we also certify actually real world asset, or rather real world balls for the time being, and also jersey. That's the kind of things where we think blockchain bring value. It's to do things that didn't existed before. We have a shop, boring, 2 million users, 60, 70,000 active users per day. Our biggest markets are Turkey, Brazil, Italy, Spain, Colombia, and the rest of the world, of course. Korea is one of these markets where we want to be more active, but we are trying to understand the dynamic, and that's why we're here today, and we're trying to educate ourselves to grow eventually in a strong market. This has been quite a ride, I will say, because we did generate a lot of revenue in the last few years out of this. But I will shift quickly into the Chiliz blockchain and where we are heading. As I said, originally Chiliz was just a token. Now it's a blockchain, it's an ecosystem. And I'm very clear, we are not here to reinvent the wheel. We are here to create an ecosystem about the sports and entertainment, and that's where with all the IPs, all the sports property, all the teams, all the companies that we are working with, we are trying to connect this world all together. Socials was the first app, I will say, of the Chiliz chain. Now there are more and more apps coming every single day that are, of course, mainly driven to the sports and the entertainment space. We are also investing quite a lot in this. And our goal eventually is to aim that fan tokens that used to be exclusively available on our own app will now be everywhere. They will be available on exchanges, maybe with some utility. They will be able on wallet of the team. They will be able to be accessible on Nike or Adidas shop. We're gonna grow that because now we have a proper chain that can carry this. And that's, of course, what we call the ecosystem advantage, the network effect, where the more developers are onboarded, the more IPs will come. The more IPs that comes, the more developers will come. It's fast, it's efficient. I'm not going to talk about TPS and validators. That's not really the point. The important point is more the fact that we are investing significantly. And I'll give you a couple of examples. We acquired for $5 million part of a company called Match Worn Shirt. Korea is a very big market for that, where every time there is a team that plays in Europe, 300 teams, the jersey worn by the players are sold on auction. Nothing have to do with blockchain till now. But now when you're going to receive your jersey, you're going to have an NFC chip here, who's going to certify that the jersey was worn by Mbappe or Messi or Ronaldo or whatever. And this is done on the Chiliz blockchain. We also invested in Barcelona Media, which is the Web3 arm. We own 20% of that. We more or less growing a full ecosystem all over the world, trying to become this very, for once, specific niche chain dedicated to sports and entertainment. 1 minute of regulatory, because it's always important. We are trying to follow the rules everywhere in the world, of course, and therefore we spent a lot of time in our approach in regulatory. As a consumer-facing product, which is almost as strict as a traditional exchange, we are licensed or regulated in Spain, in Italy, in UK, in Switzerland, in Lithuania, and everywhere in the world. So we are spending a lot of time in that space in order to make sure we make a difference and we are doing the things right. Last but not least, Korea. As you know, we've been here, first of all, was here or in Busan, I believe, last year for UDC, but Korea has been always important for us. It's been important because we have a big community, but it's important because it's an incredible market from the sports and entertainment space. And earlier this year, we were working with Min Jae Kim, for example, as a sponsor of Chiliz, and we were promoting earlier this year an event where we were educating about the launch of our chain. We think that Korea as a market, as a domestic market, will be one of our biggest in the next few years in terms of developers and in terms of users, because there is this both side here in the country where you have not only a domestic market of fans, of every big teams, of course, and every big IPs, but also a significant pool of developers. Actually, one of the first D-app that are being launched in the Chiliz chain are done here in Korea. So my call here for at least today, and I hope it will be followed, is if you have any interest, either here today or in the camera, anywhere on YouTube, etc., please join and connect with us, because we want to incentivize people to join the Chiliz. We want to incentivize people to develop features for fan tokens, for D-apps, and for everything else. And that's going to be it for today. If you have any question, that's going to be the time.
First of all, please give a big round of applause for a great presentation. Thank you very much, Mr. Dreyfus. So many questions, even on my part, and I think that we're getting a rush of questions online as well. So I will deal with the real-time online questions first. I think you explained a little bit of how you're working with athletes and their clubs at the moment, but there was one question online that asked about how do you collaborate and partner with the clubs that the athletes are a part of?
So in the last 5 years, we focused mainly on sports team. We never launched actually any social token, or we didn't launch anything related to an athlete, for a very simple reason: is athletes retire, they die, they are super busy. So we focus mainly on sports property, on brands that last forever. Juventus is 120 years old, Paris Saint-Germain it's 60 or 70 years old, Barca 100 years. So the last 5 years we were focusing mainly on sustainable product that will clearly last for the next 10, 20, 30 years, hopefully. The way we approached individual athlete, for example, was we did sponsor, as you've seen in the back, Messi, Min Jae Kim. We sponsor a few Korean Zombie, actually, on UFC as well at some point. But we till now, actually, we never found the right product that fit individuals. I'll be honest, we could have launched the Messi token and it would have made a lot of money. But we always thought it's not sustainable, what's the utility? So we never wanted to do that for the sake of his image and for the sake of our image. Having said so, I think there are more and more so-called social fi product, and Chiliz is actually incubating one right now, that will be launched that are more focused on creators and individuals, and it's not anymore about tokens, but it's about the gated or crypto-gated features.
All right. Then Now on to more of the entertainment side. You talked a lot about the sports and athlete side. How can maybe the entertainment business collaborate and join hands with the blockchain industry to further itself, to advance itself? I guess create synergy together.
So Korea is a bit of is the capital of entertainment in many ways, because of K-pop and everything else. So in the last 5 years, very similar to Messi, we've been approached by a lot of entertainment companies to work with us in order to develop something. In all fairness, and we're not the only one, we never found the right product, the right formula where I said, that's cool, we should do that. I think that's going to evolve in the next few weeks, few months, few years. I think a lot of entertainment company wants to get closer to sports, and ironically, blockchain and fan tokens could be a link between K-pop band that wants to be closer to Paris Saint-Germain or Juventus or Barcelona and vice versa. So maybe the technology is not necessarily to launch something for the entertainment space, but it could be a bridge between sports and entertainment. That's how we're going to see it.
All right, thank you very much for that. I think that a lot of the entertainment business and the sports industry related officials will get good tips from the presentation. Another very hot question just came up right now. What is your future growth engine for the Chiliz token? And how do you secure liquidity? And how are you attracting more investment for Chiliz?
I will never talk about investment, price, or whatever about a token. The only thing I can say is, as a blockchain, we are growing and we are investing in onboarding the apps and more IPs and more products. So I think for us, as I said at the beginning, before we were just a token. Now we are an ecosystem. We are an ecosystem when more and more companies are joining, more and more developers. I haven't announced that yet, but we're gonna do hackathons in stadium. So hopefully one day we'll do that in Korea as well. But in 2024, we're gonna be the first company for sure organizing hackathons in the stadium of Paris Saint-Germain, maybe Barcelona, any other clubs we are working with. And the idea behind this is, how can you promote blockchain outside of the trading, outside of the price? You need to get new narratives. We think that SportFi, we think that anything that brings value to the ecosystem, to the fans, will bring value to Chiliz in general.
Well, with the Paris Olympics coming up, I think that that would be a great opportunity as well. I think that you gave us a little bit more time for Q&A because you shortened up your presentation. So I'm going to go ahead with the pre-submitted questions, maybe one or two more questions. This might be on a slightly more critical question, but a lot of the fans, they're just purely in for the support of certain singers, movies, whatever, the content itself. And they're just there to support whatever athletes. And because of their loyalty, sometimes they're a bit frowning upon the collaboration with Web3. They just want their idol to just be. And so with entertainments, with other businesses kind of joining hands with Web3, how will you be able to persuade them that this is the way to go?
Well, you have two people to persuade here. You have the entertainment company and the fans. Actually, here in Korea, and we've seen that in every other countries, but here it's very different because of the crypto community and how deep it is in the culture.
예, 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
저는 크립토 산업에 종사하고 있는
Good afternoon. I am in the crypto industry. Thank you very much. I enjoyed it tremendously. And more recently, yes, Min Jae-kim in München and Lee Gang-in Paris Saint-Germain. So as a football fan, I also listened rapidly in your talk about the fan tokens. So perhaps this was mentioned earlier, but then now regarding the Chiliz ecosystem, what direction do you believe that the Chiliz ecosystem should be headed? So for example, number of fans or clubs to increase, and also to have more, to have the fans actively participate. Would that be the direction, or will it also more in the direction of entertainment? Or is it going to be even more scalable than that?
Thank you.
So I am actually working for the crypto industry, and thank you very much for a very interesting presentation. Recently, with Korean football players like Min-jae Kim, now playing for Bayern München, and Kang In Lee playing for Paris Saint-Germain, there's been a lot of interest in fan tokens, and there's been an expansion in the ecosystem itself. So I'm curious about Chiliz on how you're going to play this forward. You mentioned a little bit of this in your presentation as well, but I'm curious about which direction you're seeking to take, whether you're going to try and create this pool even wider so that you lower the burden for each one and every single fan, or are you going to switch it over to a completely different industry, for example, the entertainment industry, or are you going to scale it up into a completely different direction?
Let's start another 20-minute presentation. I hope everybody is ready. So first of all,
Should we give you another day?
please. Thank you for the question. Yeah, I mean, so football/soccer is actually getting more and more exposure here in Korea thanks to the talent of Korean players abroad. And as a partner of Paris Saint-Germain, I'm thrilled actually that there is a player there that is actually also playing very well. We think it's an opportunity. Let's think just about Korea. We think it's an opportunity for us to promote not the token, but the utility. It's how to promote the ecosystem. My dream one day is that Paris Saint-Germain is sponsored by Nike. One day I will go in the city here and I will go with my PSG token and I will get a 10% discount in the Nike shop. To do that, it's not a deal with PSG, it's a deal with Nike in Korea, and it's a deal where we need to have a local D-app or a local app that's gonna work around that. I think for us, it's about embracing Korean talents outside of Korea in order to promote utility and to promote application here in the country, or even to incentivize developers to develop for them. I used to say that how many blockchain can brag or claim that a developer will be able to develop something that is really mainstream, something about real Web 2, not even Web 2, traditional company. I don't think there are a lot, and we are definitely one of them, but we are not trying to distract ourselves and go in every direction. We're gonna focus in sports and entertainment. There are a lot of crossover with gaming, of course, in that way, ticketing, all of the things that are around that, but it's still sports and entertainment, and that's gonna be our main focus.